She's
No, I'm
mad.
mad at the
She's
cat.
mad at this cat.
You're not allowed to come over here and cuddle.
Oh,
Hello,
what do you do?
everybody. Grab your drinks and raise your flagons. Grab your drinks and raise your glasses. It's time for Fools. I'm tired. It's time for Fools and Flagons. Let's do this.
Things.
Fuck it, we're starting.
Grab your shit.
Better be.
Drink up. Don't drink the chips, you animal.
Drink up me hearties, yo ho.
Drink up me hard.
Munch, 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 munch,
Bring
munch.
me that horizon.
Zero Dawn.
Can I get an invite?
I guess
To
that too.
what?
Oh, tabletop?
We shouldn't need it.
Okay.
I can load it if you guys really want to play with the models and all, but I
I
don't
love
think
how
we're
even
gonna need
Kayla's
it.
like, you say that, but we're gonna totally start a fight.
Oh yeah, I need Serenscape.
Yes.
We can't.
Ooh, I did
go
forget about
somewhere else.
Sirenscape.
Sirenscape.
Oh, I can't. Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, no, cat, stop. You must pay the toll.
He is trying. He's like ducking his head underneath my arm.
You don't pay no toll, we don't get no
There-
roll.
Get
If
out of
there's
here.
one thing I know about cats is they do not understand the concept of no.
No.
That was Brooklyn earlier today.
That's been Brooklyn always.
She got on my desk and then she really wanted to be in my lap and she really wanted to be on the keyboard and it's like, stop, go away.
I remember her trying to jump up this way to get into my lap, and she would be so committed to it that she would whack her head on the underside of the desk just to get into my lap.
Also, Zach, just to carry on with what you were doing, a toll's a toll and a roll's a roll. If we don't get no tolls, we don't get no rolls.
I get that reference.
It's one of the best movies of all time.
It is. We are men. Manly men.
Men in tights.
Tight tights. Okay, so hello everybody.
Oh.
Quick minor announcement kind of thing, like we always do. Kelpie, shut the fuck up. Donations are never required, but always appreciated.
Oh, I
If-
know.
If you
I
would
was
like
like,
to
I'm not
support
Kelpie.
us, I know, but it's your Kelpie attitude. If you would
you're
like to
Kelpie.
support us, please consider becoming a patron. All proceeds from subscriptions go straight back into making Fools and Flags an even better experience, and it helps keep the podcast alive.
Always required.
Speaking of the podcast, you can listen to us in most podcast platforms. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, and Podcast Addict. If you would like to watch the VODs of our streams, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch all of our past adventures there from when Zeke was DMing and from this current campaign.
Just start with the current campaign, please.
Oh.
Okay, so then it's not just me.
I don't hear us.
No one's robotic.
Well,
I don't hear robots.
Zach is hearing it on our end, so it might just be, it's entirely possible that MLGW has done something. They've been digging up everybody's front yard. So sorry
does
if the
the
audio is a little
tram
bit weird
sound?
tonight.
How's
Sound fine
Twitch
now.
sound?
Yeah. So there
Rick will
might
just
be
sound
little
more
hiccups in audio, but it'll probably be all right.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Anybody else have anything that they would like to share?
I'm going to resist the urge to say something inappropriate. Please continue.
Well, do keep in mind, if you have something inappropriate to get Zeke in trouble, Becca's listening.
No, just no. We've done this once already, not again.
Well, see, but now we know. The first time was an accident.
I don't care.
Plenty
Becca.
more opportunities.
Becca, I'm being very disappointed in you right now because you've not been playing Peggle with Zeke.
Just. I hate you all. I hate
That
you.
one took me a second.
I hate you so much.
Love you too.
I hate
Okay.
you so much.
So moving on, might be a little bit of a shorter episode. A few of us have very early mornings tomorrow. So quick little recap. The Duke, most notorious man in the Untamed West, has been slain, along with his Rex. Zahn, Brick, and Hamburger fell behind the train as the Rex went down. Brick and Hamburger immediately took off to catch up with the train, while Zahn attempted, in futileness, to tame the Rex and win it over to their side. Failing this, I forget if it was just the one time or multiple times, but eventually the Rex was put down for good, with one final swing from Zahn's frozen sword. The Duke
Kid.
is now stabilized and bound, his possessions stripped from his person. Kasumi failed to convince the conductor to stop the train so that the others could catch up, and had to pull the brake herself. She left the wounded
Yeah.
man under a weak promise to not continue forward until given word to do so. So,
I'm gonna fight him.
I'll fucking fight you!
Mm.
I'll do it. So,
Want a
let's get...
Donnybrook? Want a Tilly, bro?
You want to? Let's go!
Starts off.
Oop.
The desert is so deserty.
It's so windy and dusty in the desert.
It's windy.
It's windy! I really should have done that. Okay. So, Brick and Hamburger. Hamburger's probably already back at the train because he was able to fly, and though the train was still moving, he was still flapping with his dragon wings and probably helping with his other wings because of the dragon eye that Pez shoved down his throat that time. Ooh, pardon. Brick, you were doing the T-1000 towards the train. Zahn, you're still quite a ways back. The train has come to a complete stop. What are you all doing?
Apparently walking towards the train.
Well, are you walking or hopping?
Bitch, I can only do the hop 3 times a day.
Well, you know, hop, skip, jump.
I am.
Oh, actually.
He's stabilized, right? We did that at the end of.
Correct. He is currently stabilized. He is essentially
Tied his ass
considered to
up.
be at 1 HP, and he is unconscious.
Okay.
Okay, so you're tying him up? Okay. Pardon. I will say, for the sake of brevity, before you were trying to do it at the same time as fighting the Rex and stopping the train and all, so I had you roll the check for it. But now that you have time, the train is stopped, you're able to tie him up pretty well. Would you like to describe how you were tying him up? Are you doing like a hog tie, a full like orca pillar, or what's the idea here?
Idiotism.
Like arms, legs, behind, back. So rotisserie chicken.
So
That's
like
not how
so
rotisserie
reverse
chicken
hog
is
tie.
bound.
Rotisserie chicken.
Like a turkey.
Like a turkey.
Not, it's not how they're bound, but okay.
Don't worry about it. And then I tie it off with a bow. Well, then I tie it properly. Then I end it with a bow.
Okay, so the bow was just added on for flair.
Yes.
Okay.
With love, like a little.
Yeah,
So,
because we
the
love
now
him.
burnt to a crisp, barely alive orc has a pretty little hemp bow on his forehead. That's an image I'm going to have nightmares of. And anyway,
The moments that
So-
I wish we had dedicated fan artists.
give it time. Okay, so wow, my internet's really acting up tonight. This is fun. So the Duke is bound. You are all congregated around. We'll say within the next 10-15 minutes or so, Brick and Zahn are able to catch up, because even though the brake was pulled, as soon as you fell off, it got a fair distance away, and you know, trains take a minute to stop. So you all patiently wait. You wait. Sure enough, in the distance, you see Brick coming through the haze of the heat of the desert. So Brick, you have now caught back up to the train.
Welcome
This is really
back.
weird to watch on Twitch.
I'm aware.
Yep.
I am totally freaking out, man.
Okay. You guys are back.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Audio's back.
Yeah. That was really weird.
Technical difficulties.
I do not know what's going on with my computer tonight. This is fun. Okay, so sorry. Brick, you were back at the train. I saw your mouth gabbing, but I couldn't hear anything.
That's like a year ago all over again. I'll like hop on the train and find the rest of the group. And is everyone okay?
I am completely unharmed.
Are you okay?
Brick just silently looks down at the huge puncture wounds in his armor. No.
I'm gonna make sure I can. I'm gonna cast Healing Word on Brick.
Okay. So roll your dice for that.
12. You get 12 hit points back.
Gracias. You all just hear like you said 12 hit points?
Correct.
I assume you all hear like this the sound of metal grinding against metal as it all sort of bends back into place at parts.
Kasumi would have made her way back to the main cart where everyone was. And just kind of steps in and be like, okay, I think the train has stopped, but I don't trust the conductor. But I'm glad you guys made it back on.
Brick's gonna poke his head out the window. Do I see Zon?
Um,
I mean, apparently he's a rattlesnake.
roll a perception check for me.
Okay. Not
See if
bad.
you can tell if I'm not a mirage.
It's an 18. Not bad for a first roll of the night.
You peek out the side of the train car and you look for a second and you really look and you swear you see something moving on the horizon and it's getting closer. And in the sea of greens and browns, you see something very distinctly white coming your way. But it looks like it might still take him another 4 or 5 minutes to make up the distance, if he's kind of going at a good jog.
Brick's just gonna poke his head back in the window. Could have sworn he was right behind me.
Mm.
Oh well.
Just Jason follows you. No matter how fast you're running, walking just keeps up with you somehow.
So, what are we gonna do about that? And she gestures towards the Duke, now hogtied.
Brick slowly lifts his axe. Well, Father did suggest.
No, we ain't doing that. No.
No.
No, you hear Lapis say from behind, he is going to get all the justice he deserves, with the
Oh,
potential
no,
of clearing the family name.
Including his limbs.
He doesn't need anything.
So I'm not sure we hashed out a plan on what we were gonna do after we got him. So where are we taking him now?
Well, that's a good question, because we can still deliver train, right?
We can we can deliver the train, and the bounty's good anywhere here in the west. So, I mean, if
Okay.
there's a sheriff's office up in here, then yeah, we can collect our bounty and mosey on out.
I too assumed that we would follow through on our agreement to protect the train while also dropping off the Duke and collecting the bounty.
Mm-hmm.
If memory
Well-
serves, you ought to be heading to Locust Harbor with this train, so no better place to house up the most wanted man in the land.
Mm-hmm.
Works for me.
So then we might need someone who's a bit more intimidating to go have a chat with the conductor.
All right, I'll go.
Waves the
since
two
y'all are
cutest-
twisting my tail.
I was gonna say the two cutest fuckers in the group wave.
I go talk
Metal
to the
man
conductor.
just standing there.
Okay.
Pez is gonna like walk in. Throw out.
Mushu from Mulan. I'm your worst nightmare.
Forgot about that. Now I want to watch Mulan.
Who are you?
So who's going up to the conductor?
Bev.
Pez? Okay. So you go up towards the front of the train and you see the man. The blood is dried now. He doesn't appear to be still bleeding, but he has taken a couple gunshot wounds and he's sitting down in the front of the train with his back against the wall and is just sort of pale with shock. I mean, the Duke came to rob his train, so he looks a little freaked out.
What species is he?
He's a human, I believe.
Thought it
I
was
kind of
a-
forgot. Is he? I
thought it
forgot
was
to
a
write it
gnome.
down. I don't think he was a
Hmm.
gnome.
I just put the gnome in there last session because we needed a conductor.
I thought he was short though.
Humans
He
can
might-
be short.
He
Wouldn't-
could have been a human, could have been a halfling. I don't remember.
Well,
we'll
he
just
is
say
gnome.
he's on the short side for a human. How about that?
Good, because if it's a gnome, then I will have very big problems. Kobolds and gnomes don't like each other.
I'm glad that we have something in common.
Okay, so I will walk up to him and
Has no
shoot him in the head.
gnome.
No, I'm kidding.
Kicking off strong.
yeah. Say you.
I no longer have a reason to be a bounty hunter. Criminal time.
You all right there, partner?
I'm been better.
I mean, you did see that we stopped the train to well, we dealt with a little bit of a problem. I mean, first and foremost, hi, how are you? My name is Pez. I was hired to me and my crew, we were hired to help protect some of the cargo here on this here train. And I mean, seeing that we kind of took care of that, we killed the Rex, and we kind of apprehended a orc that I'm pretty sure you know who it is. But yeah, if you don't mind just waiting here for a little bit so some of our friends can catch up, and then we can just mosey on out of here, because I'm sure you are shaken up. I'm shaking currently. I mean, you can't see right now, but I'm vibrating very violently. But yeah, if you don't mind just waiting here for just a little bit. I mean, hell, I'll stay up here in the cockpit. I mean, what the hell's a cockpit? I'll stay up here in the engine, and I'll guard you if you want.
So he's dead. He's gone.
Yeah. Shot him in the head. Well, I mean, so here's the story. I killed the Rex. I shot him right through the eye. But I mean, you don't care about a Rex. It's a Rex. It's a giant lizard. But the Duke, on the other hand, we messed him up pretty good. We currently have the body all hogtied just in case if he comes back to life. Not that that would ever happen. It'd be crazy if it did, though.
My spectrometer of like persuasion with advantage, disadvantage, nothing.
Bullshit.
It is fucking. It's a
Lies.
metronome, man. It's going back and forth with this conversation. Make a persuasion check.
With advantage. Hello, that was great.
Yeah, that was a pretty good monologue. So go for advantage.
Persuasion.
Persuasion.
First roll's terrible. Let's go with the second roll at 17.
Okay. So he kind of sits there and he stares at you for a bit, and he kind of starts to struggle to stand up, and he leans out the window, and he doesn't see the Rex. He sees the cargo doors open. You're all standing there looking inside. There's no more fighting going on. Kind of looks back at you. Y'all really did it?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna take a look, you can. But
No,
I mean,
no.
all right. I was just offering.
I will stay up here.
All right.
We don't. He kind of like looks up at the sky. He's like, if y'all could get your friend here quicker, I'd prefer to get moving. Just, I don't like sitting still. Not after that.
Oh no, trust me, I believe you. Whenever I hear a Rex calling, there's sure to be scavengers who will come and running.
Yeah, is his eye cut out by now?
I would say you're probably just catching up, and you're a bit. You're like, whoo. Okay, I'm here. But you would have caught up to the back of the car where the rest of them are gathered around the Duke.
Okay.
Brick would have kept poking his head out the window. As soon as he sees Zon hop on the train, he goes toward the engine room to let him know we can get going.
Is there something you wanted to do once you caught up?
Does anybody have a moist towelette?
A moist towelette.
Zon just ripped out 9 Rex teeth. He's covered in blood.
So you're back to your original color then.
Yes, fantastic. I'm just imagining like Zon walking up to the engine and be like, "We gotta go now! We gotta go!
What?
It's game over, man." All right, Zon's gonna get in the passenger car that we started in and sit the fuck down.
Okay. So Zon hops up in the train, and Pez, you see Brick giving you the signal, and you give a nod to the conductor. Are you staying up there with him, or?
Mhm.
Okay. So you're up in the front of the train with the conductor, and he gives you a nod. It's like, oh okay. Straight on to Locust Harbor.
Say, real quick, what's your name?
Owen.
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 Mr.
Wow.
Owen, would you mind if I toot the horn? I've always wanted to do that.
I mean, if y'all telling me the truth, you took out the Duke, you can damn do whatever the hell you want.
Oh, hell yeah.
I just lay on that train horn.
Let me see if I actually have that as something that I can play real quick.
Hamburger.
Brooklyn! Hello, Brooklyn! Oh, hey! Aw.
That's very pathetic.
That is a...
but
Hold
I'll
on.
take it.
Well, let me see, because sometimes you can click it multiple times. See, there's different sounds.
There you go.
That's a good lay-on one.
There you go.
So yeah, you sit up there. You kind of chat with Owen for a bit. He informs you that. Actually, let me double check on that real quick.
No, we do not have salsa. Get your face out of it.
What?
I have salsa.
Oh, salsa. Is Brooklyn trying to get into the salsa?
Yes.
Let's see. Dun. Well, of course I don't have that fucking written out. Let's see.
Shit.
What'd you do?
Purple head in the back.
Huh?
I saw that.
He's watching.
Whoa,
Oh, he's gone now.
What are you doing?
Oh.
He's just like, what are you doing?
Your hat looks like it's squid on a box.
Okay.
It kind of does.
Squid box.
So he lets you know, Pez, that it's probably going to take the better part of a day and a half to get there. And just in casual conversation with him, it sounds like he's going to go nonstop.
Mhm.
So with that information, you have about a day and a half to kind of do whatever you want. We can fast forward if there's nothing that anyone really wants to do or say.
Primarily, the Duke needs to be gagged also, just in case if he wakes up and like whispers sweet nothings of magic.
I'll cut off his lips.
No, don't. No. We need his lips.
At Pez's orders, Brick will find some sort of cloth and tie him up.
Just shove a sock down his throat.
Okay.
Brick actually would like to do something. You said a day and a half.
Correct.
One of the nights, Brick wants to find Pez, and right before we take a rest or whatever.
Funny enough, I was going to find you.
I was gonna say it's not a big train, so there's a caboose, a personnel car, 2 storage containers, and then the coal car in the front. So unless Pez is trying to hide from you, very easy to find him. And
I mean, tiny lizard, very tiny lizard, and giant metal man who looks just like the train to Pez.
I'm honestly just trying to imagine Pez just burrowed into the coal crunch. Just just a little head in it.
Or Pez trying to find him and Brick pulling a Kronk where he's just up against the wall.
Okay, so you are able to find time to talk. I will go ahead and say that you all get a long rest.
Great.
Yes.
Is anyone going to be keeping watch on the Duke, or are you trusting in Venera's not tying?
Anytime Brick is not doing anything else, he is actively sitting over the Duke, just twirling his axe.
Well,
Yeah,
like
I
just sort of
think we
like
should
wringing
definitely
it through your hands. Are you juggling? No,
Like it's like head on the floor, kind of just spinning.
oh, just okay. Twisting
Like
it. Got it.
he's creating a little circle in the floor using his axe.
I do think that if he ever does try to wake up, we just knock him out again. Just like keep bashing his head in.
Oh God.
I like
Gonna
this
be
idea.
concussed.
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 He'd have his memories to be hanged.
Okay. So what would you like to say to Brick and vice versa?
Brick is just gonna sit down with Pez and say, "May I ask you something?"
Yes.
Do you feel better now?
Not entirely sure. Currently I'm just looking at him. He looks almost pathetic, honestly. I mean, years ago, he was the most intimidating thing in the world. I was terrified of him. But right now, seeing him like this, just drooling and bleeding all over the floor, I really don't know how I feel. I'm thinking once I actually have a little bit more justice, then I'll start to feel a little bit more. But honestly, I just feel pity.
When I first awoke, one of the simplest definitions rattling around in my head was the word justice. It's quite simple. You do something bad is visited upon you in return. As the saying goes, justice is blind, it's unfeeling. Pardon my saying, but this does not feel like what we did here today was justice. I heard another word in passing, and I think this is it.
What
Would it be
word might
wrong to
that
say?
be?
Would it be wrong to say this was vengeance?
I would say yes. This is a little bit of a personal vendetta against, well, between me and him. Honestly, between my entire family and him. But, yeah, if I'm being honest, I would say this is vengeance.
Vengeance is not so unfeeling, is it?
The vengeance is, it's an interesting, I wouldn't say emotion, but, kind of is an emotion. Vengeance is a very interesting thing. To some people, it would be like justice, but from a different point of view, it's just violence. Violence upon violence. And, I'm tired of violence. This was my one thing to try to get back at the man who murdered my entire family, all my brothers and sisters, my parents, my entire farm. I needed this. I needed to see blood. And I do feel a little bit whole again, knowing that my sister is still alive, but there's still that empty feeling, honestly. And it's probably just 'cause I don't have a family to go back to, other than my sister.
vengeance be something you would... I guess what I'm asking... Was it worth it? Or would you have done something different?
If I wasn't with our current traveling companions at the moment, I would have definitely done something different. But before I met all y'all and ran away from my previous employment, I was just hiding, laying low, just going along with my life. I honestly didn't know what to do with my life until I hopped on that train and I guess met all y'all. But I would have done things differently if I could have. But the voices in the back of my head are very, very loud. But I really don't know. I mean, what would you have done different? I mean, well, you don't really have this kind of personal connection to this monster here, but I'm curious as to what you would have done.
I honestly cannot say. I don't know if anyone has provoked the need for vengeance from me.
So let's say someone goes after your father. Well, not really your father, but your creator. I really don't know what to call him. Let's just say your father. What would happen if someone came after him and killed him? Would you seek revenge?
Honestly, I do not know. That comes down to the matter of would it be justice or vengeance. I do not know if I have a strong enough connection to him, despite being the one who created me. However, if the person who was hurt was one of you, I can't say that justice would be the first thing on my mind. I have to say I was curious about this notion of vengeance, and if it was wise.
I would say vengeance isn't always the best option. Justice should always be the preferred option, but I mean, vengeance, everyone's gonna have a vendetta against something or someone. Again, like you said, if anything happened to any of y'all, or Hamburger, God forbid, hell, I don't know what I would do.
Also, while all this is going on, I'm like just looking at Brick, trying to like decipher him and see different ways of like how he is different from like a gun or like some machinery that I've worked on in the past, trying to see what makes him tick.
Well, mechanical parts, but you know.
No, it's the actual clock inside of him. That's what's making the ticking noise.
Mysterious ticking noise.
But as you say Hamburger's name, you feel a little nudge on your elbow, and the little head worms up underneath your arm and just kind of like. Yeah, sorry. Please continue.
I am glad I found you all, Pez. Or should I say that you all found me?
I'm glad that we have you and that we have everyone else. We all have each other. I'm just glad we're all alive, honestly. That Rex was pretty terrifying. He almost ate you.
That definitely was one of the few times I have ever felt what I believe you call fear. It was not fun or pleasant.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I need to do like a push to talk while I'm here.
That was just such a badly timed laugh track. You almost died.
Oh my god.
Did Brick notice? Like, it depends. Are you being pretty obvious about trying to kind of like observe Brick?
Oh yeah, I'm like getting closer to you. I'm like in my head, I imagine myself just crawling all over you like a lizard on a wall.
As you circle back around at one point, I just kind of look down and say, "Can I show you something?"
By all means.
And Brick will unlatch part of his chest piece and reach inside. And Ian and I have talked about this before, so I'm gonna go ahead and just. Was there anything about my description before that you wanted to change before I describe it?
The whole thing, everything. It was
That
bad.
face says I haven't fucking thought about it at all.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Not wrong. I
well,
vaguely
he's-
remember giving you a bit more description of what it looked like, but other than that, I don't think there was anything that I was going to change. Nope.
I'm going to describe what I remembered. If I forget anything, by all means interject. But I'm going to pull out Brick's
will.
core. Brick is going to pull out his core, and you see.
Well, I will say that you can't pull it out, but you can reveal
Oh.
it.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's like, hey, look at my heart. No, you can't do that. It is
Okay,
very
well,
much
Brick-
attached into you.
Okay, Brick opens his chest, and you see inside is a metal ball, probably about yay big. And if it kind of looks, the center of it kind of looks like the map from Treasure Planet, but the circles on it aren't. Some of the circles on it aren't on the ball, like it's hollow on the inside. You just see a blue, whitish light pulsing out of it, and around the ball are different rings roaming around it, almost like an atom.
Isn't that one of the most beautiful things ever?
Honestly, it's a little hard to comprehend sometimes. Thorgir himself said I didn't work at first, and an accident caused me to come online. It makes me curious as to why I am a combination of machine and magic. It makes me curious as to how much I can actually feel like someone like you or Vanera is on.
Well, I mean, looking at you, you've done some pretty incredible things. You've felt things that some people dream of doing. I mean, you've tasted things, you like things that people like, you don't like things that people love. But you're an incredible individual, if you don't mind my saying. And looking at this here glowing sphere looking thing, I've read about it. My ma has said things about it, but honestly, that looks like your soul.
What is a soul?
Damn. Didn't expect that kind of question. What is a soul? Well, to me, a soul is something that that everyone has. All living beings, animals, some plants that try to kill you, they have bad souls. But people, we all have souls. A soul is what you are. It's it's you. You are your own soul, and that's a really hard question to answer. I'm trying my hardest, but a, a soul is you. I, that's all I can really say.
Well, then I hope you are right. I hope that I have one, and I hope this is it. I would like to share that experience with you all. As he closes the chess piece. And may I say, my friend, you are quite a wonder as well.
Well, thank you kindly.
I'm going to just like do one more pass around him, and then I'm gonna give him a hug and
We'll hug back.
cry.
Aw.
Rick does not know how to respond to that and just holds him. Not like that.
Salty. Okay.
That's all I had.
All right. So, throughout the rest of the trip, when Brick is not watching the Duke, Lapis is almost always in the same compartment as him, either sitting with her legs off the side of the train with an open door, just watching the scenery go by, lounging out across some of the boxes that are in the storage container. Finally, as Brick takes watch over the Duke again, she does go to find you, Pez. She finds you up chatting with the conductor. She kind of beckons you back towards the car, the storage cart. She goes and she sits up on the edge of the roof, just legs hanging off the edge to watch the way go by. You go and join her? Okay. So you go and you sit up on the edge of the train with her for a while, and she doesn't say anything, just seems to want to have the moment with you of relative quiet apart from the huffing and puffing of the train. And it's getting on into the evening, so the sunset is absolutely gorgeous across this landscape. And finally she speaks up and says, "So, what are you going to do now?"
Damn, everyone coming at me with all these hard questions. I didn't study for this.
She laughs. "Well, I know what I am going to do.
Hmm.
I am going to go home. For the first time in a long time. And I think I will try to rebuild."
You know, that honestly doesn't sound too bad. I've been tempted to go back home, rebuild, and try to recoup what we lost. I think I'm gonna stick with these folks though for a little bit, just to see what happens and see where things go. But I'll make a deal with you. I'll venture off with this crew for a little bit, and by the time I come back, I hope that farm's rebuilt and that you have a nice warm meal for the both of us.
I will further sweeten the deal.
Hmm?
I will have a meal ready for all of you to come visit.
Hmm.
I have enough saved up over my time abroad and absence. I think the name Longshot Lapis shall cease to be.
Hmm. I
Perhaps you
never
can
really
say
liked that nickname.
it grows on you. You may say whatever you wish if you want to convince the law that I am dead. For the time, I think I will, and as she's speaking, her physicality changes from the Dragonborn to the pale, red-headed human form that she had taken when she was in the city. I think this will do me for some time. The name Sage Marigold is long forgotten. I think I will go back to that. Start fresh. And once the name Lapis Longshot is no longer spoken in whispers, perhaps I shall be blue again. And she dissolves her disguise back to her pale blue dragonborn self.
I like you like that more, honestly. You're very, very beautiful blue.
I agree, red is not my color, but
No, it really
has its
isn't.
purpose. Speaking of,
Hmm.
which of you has the Duke's armor?
Mm.
That golden chain. I would very much like to have it as a keepsake.
I'm sure they would be more than happy to share whatever asshole has. That's what I'm going to be calling him from now on until he hangs, Mr. Asshole.
Veneer is wearing it. Just
Just oversized as fuck, just flapping around in this golden chainmail.
It's so heavy,
Yeah.
she's on the ground. Help! I didn't think this through.
Yeah, what's your strength score?
don't worry about it.
No. We're checking this.
Not very good. It's bad.
It's way too heavy for you. Well, I suppose I will join you on to Locust Harbor, but I think I shall keep my head down for the next couple of years.
Alright.
If you choose to besmirch the name of Lapis Longshot, saying she died a coward, perhaps it's for the best.
Mm-mm. No, she didn't die a coward. She died ferociously. Side by side by the most wanted man in the world. She's going to go down a legend. Just like the name Marigold should. Should never be forgotten.
Well, you seem to have found yourself a lovely little group.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you think your travels will take you?
I really don't know. Honestly, I kind of hope we stay here in the West, cause, I mean, just look at me. I belong out here. I was born out here. My scales are the color of the West. If we go anywhere else, like the North or the East or water, oh God, screw water. I can't even swim. Do you know how to swim?
I do.
Oh, why didn't you teach me? Oh wait, never mind. I know why. You were always helping Pa with with our brothers.
I believe you were too young to remember, but Pa did throw you into the river and said it was best to learn by doing.
You know, I think I blocked that memory out.
You didn't learn very well, no. I didn't know anything could sink so fast.
Oh no.
Damn!
The brick.
Challenge accepted.
Pencil dive.
That's just sitting on the bottom of the river, arms crossed, like, stupid.
Well, I suppose I shall go keep watch on our charge.
All right.
We'll see what happens when we get to our destination.
Agreed. Just a quick warning. Make sure Metal Man and the Bun Bun doesn't chop any limbs off or fingers or hairs off, because I mean they're kind of murder happy.
Ooh, that's a tall order. I mean, a girl's got to sleep. She gets up, heads toward the car where he is, and you see her very gracefully. Looks like she's about to fall off the edge, but she grabs the lip of the roof and swings herself down and lands back in front of you, Brick. She looks at you and says, "Have you seen your friend Vanera?"
I
Have you? Vanera, where have you
Not
been?
Staying with the Duke and just kind of hanging out.
Rick
Braiding
just
his nose
across
hairs.
Points across to the
Braiding.
other box on the other side of the Duke. Also, I have a question. Does the Duke wake up at any point?
Make a perception check.
7.
You glance over every now and then, but you haven't seen anything.
Okay.
The skin
the
is
flat of
all
my
blackened
axis.
and charred.
I'm
You
always
are
ready.
finding it difficult from keeping an eye on him and just watching this landscape go by that you've never seen before.
Fair.
Vanera, dear,
Hmm?
while I must say you look lovely in gold, might I have that?
Just plastered to the floor, can't get up. Yep, you can try.
She kind of grabs it by the collar and starts to kind of like, to like worm you out of it while it's weighing you down.
Ooh.
She finally gets it loose, wraps it up, and stuffs it into one of her bags. Well, she kind of looks down at the Duke and pauses for a moment, looks at you, Brick. Shame. He has so many limbs.
Shame.
Shame. Or actually, for you, it'd be shame.
Shame.
Well, let me know when you grow tired, Brick, and I shall take over again. I think I shall get some rest.
Brick can. He's gonna just, because he can be aware even while sleeping, he's just gonna prop himself up with the axe in a sitting position, just staring at the Duke even while asleep.
So, what time is it right now? Curiosity.
We'll say it's getting on to about evening time of that original day of fighting the Duke. So after the talks that everyone has had, the sun has dipped down over the horizon, and it's getting into that real deep purple on the horizon, and everything else is black. You're starting to see stars appear above you, and the checking the calendar, the moons are quite bright. So even though it is starting to get very, very dark, you are still able to see for quite a ways with both full moons. Is there anything any of the other of you would like to do before we wrap up the evening on into the morning?
Are we taking watches?
Are you?
Hey,
I mean-
I already said I'd go
I
first
think that'd
one.
be smart.
If you're taking first, then Brick will take last. I think he can actually take the last 1.5. Is that how we're playing it?
1.5, yeah.
Okay. But he's still just eyes on the Duke.
Okay, so
Love being
Vanera,
more first.
you were taking first watch. Is anyone taking watch with Vanera?
Tom's in another car. I've got no fucking clue.
Where
Actually,
are
yeah,
you,
which-
Zon? What are you doing?
I've been in the car that we started in the whole time.
Oh, so you're in the personnel car.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fucking, they're comfy seats. What the fuck am I gonna sit on boxes for?
Same with you, Kasumi. Is that where you've been?
No, I've been in the room. She's been kind of like perched up on a box and just kind of lounging, occasionally like brushing her fur, just chilling.
Okay.
Game.
So, Kasumi is welcome to either take the watch with Vanera or I can take a watch by myself, depending on how many people want to volunteer.
Take it after.
I got this.
Okie doke, I'll take it after you then.
Okay.
Roll really good.
So, the rest of you go lay down for a rest. Brick sort of turns and just powers down, staring at the Duke.
It's gonna be
Vanera.
terrifying if the Duke is awake. He just watches this thing just.
Like the light goes a little dim in the eyes, but he's still just staring at him like.
So, Vanera, make a perception roll for me, please.
Perception. Natural 20.
Natural 20. Okay.
Damn!
Holy shit. First roll is a big one. So, the night goes by with fairly little in the way of interesting things. With the moons out, you are able to see things further away in the distance than you normally would, and still, the night goes by without much incident. You swear you hear movement beside you. By the time you glance over at the Duke, whatever had made the noise has stopped.
Point of order. Even though Brick is asleep, he can still see and hear everything. Do I see the Duke moving?
Make a perception check at disadvantage.
Okay. That's gonna be a 17.
17. It didn't seem to be a deliberate movement. It was more of a kind of a body twitch.
Got it.
I mean, he did get burned by sacred fire, and then stripped and bound with hemp rope. So that's bound to be a little uncomfortable and itchy.
Fair enough.
But once you hear that movement and you look over at him, the evening had been going pleasantly because the evening was cool. But once that happened, you were very kind of paranoid and watching this orc bound up on the floor for the rest of your shift. So, come on to the next shift. Who's taking watch?
Asumi.
That would be me.
Kasumi? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Vanera, you go back to the other car, wake up Kasumi. You both trade places. If you would make a perception roll, please.
Okay. Perception. That's a 16.
16. Again, the night seems to be going fairly smoothly for you. Until about halfway through your watch, when you get this prickling at the back of your neck. And you glance around real quick, and Lapis is just there, sitting behind you on one of the crates. But you don't know when she got there.
Okay.
She's not
And-
looking at you, but she's looking at the Duke.
Okay. While she was on her watch, just to kind of keep herself busy, she was casting dancing lights and occasionally sending one over to the Duke just to like check his eyeballs
Mm-hmm.
and to send it back over and be juggling them. So when she senses Lapis, she just like, hi.
Good evening.
I didn't know you were awake.
It's hard to sleep when you know that the man that killed your family is in the same train as you, I suppose.
And
you
still breathing.
could you put one of those up his nose?
Oh.
I haven't tried. I could try.
Now's as good a time as any.
All right. And then she sends one of the motes and then covers it over his nose and then tries to like make it go in his nose.
So, like you would expect, shoving a flashlight up your nose, the whole nostril and like part of the eye seems to light up, and you see him twitch again.
She's holding it. Do you want me to stop?
I don't have my dice out. Hang on.
I'll roll for it.
She's like,
Damn it! It's not the result I wanted. Oh, I suppose.
okay. And then she like brings it back and she looks at it and she's like, I'm going to keep that one a little bit farther away.
There's orc bogeys on it.
I can see why it would be a bit unsettling for him to still be alive.
I suppose unsettling is the wrong word. It's the desire to make sure he doesn't wake up ever again.
Well, and then also, whenever I hear the concept of dead or alive, when it comes to things like this, and she just gestures towards him, I always get concerned once they are no longer in our surveillance. It took a lot to get him down, and then we'll be putting the trust in other people to make sure that he doesn't escape again.
I can personally guarantee that he will hang very quickly. And if he does not, she kind of pokes a thumb over her shoulder at the long rifle behind her. He will not be around for long.
We plan on staying around and watching.
Oh, of course. This has been years in the making.
I can imagine. He's known for a lot of destruction, it seems.
Pretty much any crime you can think of he has committed.
Well, it's comforting to know that very soon there'll be one less evil in this world.
We all have to start somewhere.
True. But at least we have more than one of us to keep each other company. And just make sure that the job gets done all the way.
It cannot come soon enough.
Very true. And she goes back to playing with her lights.
So you play with your lights a little bit more, and yeah, the next time you look up where she had been sitting, she's gone.
Okay. I gotta learn how to do that.
You hear a whisper from where she's sitting. It's a very easy trick.
Well, then tell me.
No response.
Oh, I see how it is.
Is there anything else that you would like to do on your watch?
Nope, that's about it.
Okay. Brick, you wake up a little bit later on. It had been a bit of a rough day for you, almost being eaten by a T-Rex, so you spent a little bit longer sleeping than you normally would have, just to kind of properly patch things together through your self-healing mode. But eventually, you awaken, and Kasumi, you see the blue of his eyes get a little bit brighter, and he starts to stir. And while you were in that trance, while you were not able to, at the moment, laugh, you did see the light go up his nose.
Oh man, now I gotta think. What would Brick laughing sound like? Would it actually sound like a regular laugh, or would it sound like metal?
I can only think of
Screech.
Blitzcrank now.
Ha, ha, ha.
Would him chuckling just be like hearing like a steam rotor or something? Just the
Oh, like the struggling like 1970s
yeah
car that.
yeah.
I would say, considering that you were able to walk, talk, and do everything else like a normal person, you would probably have a laugh. But as far as like deciding what your laugh would sound like, that's kind of up to you.
Okay. You just kind of hear a very monotone as he starts to stir.
Hearing that kind of creeps her out. Brick, are you okay?
Apologies if I didn't get to laugh earlier.
Early. Oh, yes.
It was very funny.
That was Sage's idea. Well, I guess it's your turn.
Have a good rest.
Try not to cut off any limbs.
Okay, so it is Brick's turn to roll a perception check for the final watch.
Okay, that's not terrible. 12.
12. You do your best to keep an eye on him. But again, it is sort of distracting getting to see all the scenery go by. Because,
Stars
again,
are out.
it's the first time that you've ever seen it, especially in a mode of transportation like this, where you're not really keeping an eye out for dangers that are easily accessible to you. So you're watching him. You're definitely keeping an ear out for any sort of movement. But pretty uneventful. The sun begins to come up over the horizon, and off in the distance you see a flock of something big with leathery wings flying off in the distance, but it's a ways away, not coming towards you. It's just nature being nature. You start to see more creatures appear over the horizon as the day gets on, and eventually the rest of you awaken as the morning comes to. Is there anything else you would like to do before we get to Locust Harbor?
I'm ready to be off this train.
Oh, I know. Brick did not get a great chance to test run the judge. So as the train is, how fast? Like, is the train moving fast enough to where I can't really aim at something, or is it moving at a good enough pace where I can go?
You can certainly try.
Okay, Brick definitely wants to try. I don't remember how many bullets I got with the judge. Did I just get one?
I want to say it was a box of 20.
Box of 20.
I think. That
He's
sounds
gonna try
right.
he's gonna try unloading with the rest of the clip and then reload.
So you're gonna fire off
I
6
think I'll-
shots?
I think well, I'd never reloaded from the first time. I think I fired twice, if I remember correctly. So I should have 4 left in the barrel.
Okay, we'll go with that, but we'll need you to keep track of your ammo because that's pretty important.
Yeah, that's my bad.
So, yeah, it's early in the morning. Everyone's just waking up, and you're bored enough to go, well, that tree's coming up right there, a little ways off. Roll your dice for it.
Oh, 14.
14. You take a shot. Doesn't seem like you hit. And
You'll
it's
just
still
hear
moving
as-
very quickly.
As you're waking up, dang it. Firing again.
Okay.
That's worse.
It's worse. You're frustrated that your first shot didn't hit it, so you squeeze the trigger, fire off another shot. You don't see anything hit. Tree's getting further or closer very quickly. It's almost
Actually,
even with the train now.
Disadvantage, shouldn't I?
Do what?
I should be rolling these next ones at disadvantage because of
Actually,
recoil,
yes.
right?
Correct.
Okay, well, didn't hit anyway, so this time a disadvantage. Nope. Third shot just goes wide again.
You have one more shot.
Come on. Fuck.
Natural 1. You go to take that final shot, and you're so frustrated, and you're not used to it because your other gun has been a part of you. This one you're holding in your hand. So it's it feels different. You don't have like as firm of grip or as steady of an arm. So that last shot goes off, and the gun flies out of your hand and clatters back behind the crates in the cargo hold.
If anyone's nearby, you ever really heard Brick? Like, he's cursed a few times, but this time it's just like, fuck, damn it, shit, fuck, fuck, fuck. Just a string of curses as he's rummaging through the boxes trying to find.
So the rest of you awaken to 4 very loud gunshots. Like, you've heard him and Pez shoot guns before, but this sounds like, even though he's in a different car than you, like it's almost right beside you. So you are all now very much awake and alert against your wishes.
It's on wouldn't say a necklace, but like made a string of the teeth in his free time in between then and there.
Oh, sure. You had plenty of time to work with that.
I'm gonna go and see what happens with all the noise.
So here comes Zahn, very tired, dragging his sword behind him, throwing the cart open, looks down at the Duke, looks up at Brick.
Brick's just rummaging through the boxes trying to find the judge.
Why does he still have all of his limbs?
They told me I couldn't do anything, and I had to go back to rummaging through the boxes.
And you listen to them?
Yeah. Goes back to rummaging through the boxes.
Because Jimmy's gonna walk in the room. Why so loud?
Target practice didn't work out.
What time is it?
Early.
Target practice in the morning.
I was bored.
She gives like 2 very slow blinks. Just walks by.
A blink.
Well, everyone, I think it's time for us to so break off the train.
I'm sorry.
We brought you into this world on the train. We'll take you out on the train.
I kicked the door down after
Someone can
panting.
help me.
So
the hell
Pez
happened?
kicked the door in.
So
Is he awake?
My guns are drawn, all of them. I'm even holding my third gun with my tail.
Sumi just points at Brick. Doesn't even look and turns her head to look at him. She just points.
What did you do?
Target practice didn't work. Can you
Don't
help
do
me
it again.
find the judge?
If you do that again, so help me.
I'm
I'll do something.
sorry.
I'm actually curious what you would do.
Please continue.
Yes, please. Tell myself of what you would do if that is the case.
Don't worry about it. I know some things.
Uh-huh.
even Hamburger seems a little ruffled and indignant about being woken up so violently. Like, imagine really pissed off cat, like the hackles are raised, but it's just all feathers.
Oh, is Lapis in the room?
Not that you can see. Well, I
As Brick is
suppose
rummaging through the
make a
boxes-
perception check.
Yeah. Would it be well? Would it be?
Well, if you're looking for your gun, make an investigation check. Zahn, make
Yeah.
a perception check.
26.
26. As you're kind of peering around, you swear you see one of the boxes up high shift a little bit.
I'm gonna point at the box. I killed you.
There's no response. You just accuse the box that you killed it. Brick,
14.
14. You know where it went, but these boxes are heavy, and you remember it hitting the wall and falling down behind a big pile of them. So, on the plus side, it does require you to be a little abusive to the Duke because he's in the way of you moving the boxes. So it's sort of a...
toss him against the box.
I was thinking more of like a, ooh, sorry, you're in the way of my... Oh, God, you're still there. Why do you get out of the... Oh, God, I hit you again.
Oh, this box is so
Dang
heavy, now
it.
your leg is flat.
So you do eventually find the judge, and it's a bit scuffed. There's no real visible damage to it, but you do feel a little embarrassed.
He's just gonna sit down and start cleaning the gun, and reloading it after.
Is this his first feeling of embarrassment?
Is it? Were you not embarrassed when you burned down the jailhouse? I'd
I
be
was
so
more.
proud.
Rick was more ashamed when he figured out burning down the sheriff's house was a bad move. This is
Yeah,
I think
this
the first
is-
time he's ever actually been like, I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, this would be the first embarrassing moment. If he could blush. We'll have to install
You see
little red
blue-
lights right there.
Someone's gonna take some of the blood still on him and put red cheeks on.
Oh, come on. You're telling me you wouldn't have cleaned yourself before going to sleep? Mister, I
Damn it,
brush my tail every night.
Damn it, you're right. Okay, fine, you win.
Thank you, Ian.
I got you. So, you have about half a day's travel left with the train. Pez, at some point in the day when you go and kind of check in on Owen, he seems a little tired, but focused. Little twitchy after hearing the gunshots go off, but he seems very committed to just staying the course and getting there. You realize as you're going past, because you're familiar with the area, that you have actually already passed Lunawind, and you're getting relatively close to Drybell, and then you know that by about midday you'll be getting to Locust Harbor. So, is there anything you all would like to do, or we can go ahead and jump forward to Locust Harbor?
As we're first off, does Brick recognize as we get closer past? Because we've already been this way before. Does Brick recognize the scenery?
Do you?
Make an intelligence check. Let me see something real quick.
Hear it.
Make an intelligence check. Add your proficiency.
Okay. I'm gonna go with you. Oh, that was an okay choice, I guess. 14.
You swear you remember that cactus. But the last time you were coming through here, you were also on a train, so... And you were also kind of fresh to the world, so you were a little bit focused on other things. It looks
We're gonna see Lunawind as we pass, right?
You've already passed Lunawind. You passed Lunawind during the night.
During the night. Okay.
So you woke up, and there's just normal scenery around you.
Trying to figure out if I'm trying not to metagame here. So, yay or nay, I wouldn't recognize where we are.
No, with that particular roll, no.
Okay, then never mind.
Okay. So the day does continue on, and I will say that as you are passing it, because you would remember that there was nothing between Lunawind and Locust Harbor except for Drybell as far as kind of structures would go. It's almost as you're right up on it and you're flying past that you just see buildings, 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 buildings. And then the train is just straight on through.
And that would trigger something in Brick's mind. Do I see anything
For that?
unusual?
Make a perception check. And anyone else that wants to take a look may make a roll as well.
You. 22.
22. It takes you a second because you see structures going by suddenly because you're also kind of keeping watch on the Duke. But the structures go by and you go, oh shit! And you look and you see that the Dragon Railway Station is a little worse for wear. It's dirty. There seems to be greenery growing on it. Tiles are missing. You look out past it, and there's buildings that are in rubble. There's holes taking out of walls. Everything seems a little bit more dilapidated than it should be for how long you've been gone. And there is some sort of vegetation growing on it, but it's a little too hard to make out at this distance and at this speed. For a town that you had seen barely 2 weeks prior, it shouldn't look like it's been abandoned for years like it does now.
That town definitely looks Dilophosaurus much worse than it did before.
Dilapidated.
Yes, that's what I said, Dilophosaurus. It looks a lot more Dilophosaurus than it did before.
Oh no.
Oh, I'm gonna have a giant book fall on your head.
Gotcha.
That was good. That was good. Brick just kind of looks at it as it goes by. We should probably visit after we're done here.
I don't see why not.
I would be lying if I didn't say I felt... I don't want another Lunawind Sheriff office to be on my conscience.
Wait a minute. Nah, that's feeling it.
What do you mean by that?
Yes, Herr Brick. What do you mean by that?
When we stopped by Drybell, we heard that there was some sort of discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
We chose not to stay because we were in a rush,
Mm-hmm.
but we had the option, and perhaps if we had chosen differently, people would not be worried about those who looks like used to live in Drybell.
See, I see how you feel there, and then I look at the body on the floor and see 200,000 monies, and then I'm like, I don't really care.
One thing that has always helped me
Money?
in situations like this, not money,
Oh.
is the fact that yes, there are always alternative options, but we made a path and we chose it. So honestly, perhaps it was meant to happen.
That's morbid by even my standards.
Not necessarily meaning that there needed to be death, but
But
We
you
can't-
did say that, though.
no, I'm trying to say we
Technically,
can't.
you did.
No, I'm trying to say we can't prevent everything from happening. We can't.
That is debatable. But moving on.
I see your point.
I know, that makes such great points.
I was not talking to you, Father.
I raised a dick.
Like father, like son.
Damn it! He knows me too well already.
Does not make it easier, but it does make
Doesn't.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't
would
mean that
still-
we can't do something about it.
Which I would still very much like to do if you are all on board.
Let's see what happens with this fellow, and then we will find out.
Okay. Anything else you would all like to do?
I'd like to stick my head out the door of the train and get wind in my hair. Whee! Train ride!
So Zahn sticks his head out the side of the train for a while and just enjoys the feeling of the breeze on his face. And when he comes back, it's just for a while until he can
windy.
groom himself again. All right, so we're gonna fast forward here just a little bit. Whee! So you all are on the train. You hear the conductor shout back, saying that you're arriving soon. He's gonna be slowing the train down, and to please, please, please keep an eye on the Duke. So the train pulls on into the station.
It sounded like a drum roll for a second. I was about to be like, what?
Let's see. Woo! Bless you.
Thank you.
Where? Ugh, I didn't copy that over. Damn it. Damn! Un momento. Trying to find the thing. Ah, there we go. Okay. So the train eventually pulls into the station. You all arrive on the platform. You hop off the car. The conductor hops down. He's still covered in blood, and you hear a gasp from behind the telegraph station, and you see the brass-scaled dragonborn that had spoken with you when you first arrived, and she looks over and goes, "Oh my goodness, Owen, are you all right?" Goes, "If been better. Would you mind getting the marshal?" She kind of looks between Owen and the rest of you, and she goes back into her booth, and she rummages around for a bit, and she looks through the bars and says, "He'll be here shortly." She's now keeping a very stern eye on you because she doesn't know what's going on.
Hi!
You all just stand there waving at her.
Nerd waves!
It is now that Owen has gone off to the side, and he's speaking to another gentleman that seems to have been waiting there for him. He kind of gestures back at the carts and is speaking with them, and he's kind of like putting a like just hang on kind of motion. He comes back towards the rest of you. So he's safe. Aye.
I've been trying to cut off a leg of one or two. If you want, I can to make sure.
No, enough bloodshed for me. So I think we might need the marshal to come here first, and then we can get.
On him asking that, Brick is actually gonna go. Like, we didn't bring him out here with us. I'm guessing, right? Upon saying that, Brick is actually gonna go back inside and go find him.
He is right where you left him.
Good. I'm gonna drag him closer to the doorway, and just keep him on the train, but like hidden just out of sight, just so I can be in the doorway and keeping a look on him.
Ghost train?
Either a ghost train or a weird dinosaur.
I'm just gonna go ahead and disable that sound effect. Cause that was creepy as fuck. Okay, so you don't have to wait for terribly long. Sure enough, he comes trotting up on the back of a looks like a fairly young Allosaurus for the ones that you've seen prior, and it takes him a second to properly calm the animal, and he kind of like has to thwap it on the back of the head for it to finally obey him, and it kind of sits itself down and looks a little indignant, but he hops off, walks towards all of you, and goes, "Well, y'all are back."
Mm-hmm.
Is
Got
this
a
the
message.
same Marshall as before?
This is Marshall. Marshall Young.
It's good to see you.
Well, it's good to see y'all too. Y'all are alive, but and he kind of glances over but he ain't look too good. Didn't
Others
fine.
perished as well.
didn't get much information there from Callum, but said I was needed. So, mind telling me what the hell's happening here?
Brick's gonna look at everyone else. Shall I?
You shall.
Mm-hmm.
I grab the Duke, throw him out of the train, and go, "We have gifts."
Kind of looks down at who you dropped. He's got a hand on his pistol on his hip. Kind of looks at him and y'all burning people now.
That's currently.
He kind of looks at
Don't-
you and don't think I forgot what you did in Luna Wind.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, let's just don't mind him. Don't even pay attention to that comment. This here charred individual. I mean, if you get a little bit closer, you'll be able to look on his ugly mug, and pretty sure you already know who this is.
At the distance he's at, he seems a little confused why you're all being so cryptic. So he gets a bit closer and he kind of looks him over, kind of taps his face with his shoe. And then you all visibly see the light bulb flick on. And he backpedals and goes, "Holy shit."
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
You may go ahead and praise us now.
Ta-da!
He is gone white as a ghost. And he's just slack-jawed, looking from one down to him, to the other, down to him, to one of the other ones down to him. And then he finally looks over at Owen, and he just kind of like looks out at himself and nods. One second. And he goes over back to the Dragon Railway booth where Callum's sitting, and he says something to her, and she nods and seems to prepare another scroll, and he comes back to you. He goes, "Y'all crazy motherfuckers.
This is not
Went
the only
for-
thing that we did.
Y'all went after Lapis Longshot, and you come back with him?"
We actually got her too, but she's kind of a bloody crater. So,
There,
yeah. Sorry
yeah,
about that.
there wasn't really much left. You see, the funny thing is, I'm sure you know about the Duke's Rex. Well, I happened to accidentally charm it, and he accidentally ate her. So yeah, there's her body's kind of being digested.
At this point, the five of you see a very familiar pale-skinned redhead hop off the train. She's holding a very familiar cloak to you. "She did drop this before she got eaten, though." And
Oh yeah, that's right.
Marshall looks up, sees the cloak, and then he kind of tilts his head and, well, I'll be damned.
What can we say? We're overachievers!
we going to have ourselves a little chat. And he kind of glances around the crowded railway station. And he kind of gestures at Sage and goes, y'all mind putting that down over his head for me real quick? She tosses it over. Don't want to be causing no ruckus unnecessarily. And as he's saying this, 3 more of his deputies come trotting up. One is on a Triceratops. The other 2 are on Deinonychuses. And he kind of jerks his head towards the body on the ground. And y'all take this back. I'll be back there shortly. Lock him up real tight. They look a little confused, but they nod and they take him and load him up onto the Triceratops. And with the 2 Deinonychuses in front, kind of clearing the way a little bit, they head off further into Locust Harbor. He looks at the 6 of you now. Well, seems like y'all about to get a pretty decent payday. Y'all were hired to guard this train, right?
Yes, sir, we were.
Jawohl.
There were others, but they perished.
Yes, they were very bad at their jobs.
Well, all right. And he just seems at a loss for words, and he kind of glances over at Owen and says, well, y'all get working on this here train. We got to clear it out for the 11:30. No one kind of nods, and he motions over to the person that had been waiting for him, and all of a sudden there's like 20, 30 people coming towards the train. All big, burly people. There's a couple Goliaths, half-orcs. There's one gnome, but he doesn't look like he's going to be really in charge of anything heavy, but he's got a clipboard. Very important figure.
I was really hoping for just a little gnome that was just.
No. So,
My frills twitch at the gnome.
your what? Oh, your frills.
My frills, yeah, they twitch. I don't like gnomes.
Okay, trying to find the right audio file for background. So you all take off after the marshal, heading down the street. All the way on back towards the pen. You would pass this place. Actually, you have been here once before, when you went and spoke to him in the morning before your departure. So, once again, you find yourself back in the pen, and he goes behind his desk, and he just sits. He basically collapses in his chair, and it's just like doesn't know what to do with himself. And he is just staring at the 5 of you, just not saying anything.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
When are you gonna hang him? Sooner rather than later.
Preferably.
Yeah. Like today.
Oh, today would be fantastic for hanging. It's
Don't know
very
about
sunny.
Today. There's a lot of paperwork to be done. I'm gonna have to. And he's just like looking at his desk, and there's, piles of papers and all, and he's just. I'm gonna have so much fucking paperwork to do.
I mean, does the paperwork have to be done first, really? I mean, is that really more of a priority? We could help
Law's the law,
transport him.
sweetheart.
Oh, yes.
Well,
Oh.
how long are we talking?
Couldn't honestly tell you. Gonna have to get the governor involved. We, you put up the bounty, and you never think sometimes it's gonna happen.
Actually, speaking of the bounty,
Y'all
How
get
does-
paid.
well, the bounties. But, yes.
I'm gonna have to get the governor in on this one. We don't have them funds just readily available here. in this particular facility. Kind of looks around for a second. Oh, I see what I've done wrong. Give me 1 second. Apologies. So he looks over. He goes, Deputy May. You see this tall female half-orc, scarred, absolutely jacked. A little bit odd because she has blonde hair.
She's beautiful.
He goes, y'all mind going and fetching the governor for me? She gives him a curt nod and starts jogging out. So the marshal kind of leans forward on his desk and just starts rubbing his temples, just thinking of all the repercussions from what's been thrown on his lap today. So, if I'm getting me my figures right, y'all looking at a pretty big payday. Trying to find. There we go.
Also, is Sage still with us, or did she vanish into the crowd?
She's there with you.
Okay.
Vanira. It might be a good idea for us to call your little friend, the merchant. I have a feeling we might need something important from him.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought one of you guys was angry for a second. I'm like, oh no, that's the sound effects.
They just growled.
It was a horse. It snorted in my ear.
We might.
How did you get in the office?
We might need something to help transport our new income. Something to carry it in.
Are we staying here for a few days then?
Well, do we want to risk leaving before the Duke is actually dead?
9.
No.
I want to see him hang.
Okay.
I still want to kill him, but hanging is just as good.
Maybe they'll let you pull the lever if you ask.
Oh my god, Marshall!
Marshall!
Marshall, can I pull the hangy lever thing that hangs the Duke?
He's kind of sitting there, just still shell-shocked. I mean...
Please?
Make a persuasion check.
Yay! It's gonna be an 18.
Of course.
I mean... Y'all caught him, as far as I'm concerned. You can pull
Wait.
a lever and beat him with a stick like a piñata, but you're going to have to talk to the governor about this first.
Wait. Pez, it should be you.
I mean, well, first things first. The law has its way, so we should be conversing with here, Governor.
I will wait. Angrily?
You don't seem to have to be waiting very long. As you go, fine, I will have to wait! That the doors open, and the half-orc is holding the door open for a fairly tall dwarf. He's fairly tall, little beefy. He has golden tan skin from years and years and years in the sun on this coastal town. He has long, straight, silver hair to signify his age, brown eyes. His beard is braided, hangs down past his waist. He doesn't seem to be able to keep his hands steady. He's kind of wringing them together, and he's kind of struts on in. Well, what is it here the Deputy May says about bounties needing collecting? The marshal kind of looks at the governor, head still in his hands, and he gestures at you all. And he says, "These here fine people, part of the mercenary guild, call themselves the Tempests. I don't know how else to say it. They captured the Duke." And he doesn't say anything further than that. You just see the governor halt mid-stride. And he just stares at the marshal for a second, then he chuckles like, "It is too far on in the day for me to be getting jokes, lad. A busy dwarf, lots to do." Shakes his head. "Ain't no jokes, sir. Take a look." And he points to the jailhouse on the side. He kind of gives a skeptical look, lets himself in, and he comes sprinting back out, shuts the door behind him. "Oh, okay. Well, you called yourselves the Tempests."
Correct.
Jawohl.
"Whew, well, the coffers are going to be looking mighty dry, but I do believe a celebration might be in order. And he kind of stops and just thinks, and when can we get him on trial, Marshal?" Marshal kind of looks at his desk, lifts up a piece of paper. "We ain't got nothing till later on in the week, honestly. Next week, even." He goes, "Excellent, excellent. What about today?" Marshal kind of, "You're the governor." He goes, Good. Well, pay them their bounties." And he starts to scurry off and he goes, "Sir." He goes, Yes, what?" "We don't have that much here." Right. How much is it again?" And the marshal kind of looks down. Goes, "Well, sorry, I actually need my calculator real quick. My brain's fucking fried at this point. Actually, no. All total, looking at 211,800. You see the governor go pale. Might take me a bit longer to return. And he kind of looks back up at Deputy May. "Would you mind helping an old dwarf carry some things?" He goes, "Yes, sir." Very, very deep voice for a lady. So they both head off. They disappear for quite a while. Eventually, they do come back. The governor has some papers and some books in his hands, and Deputy May has a very large satchel, about backpack sized, with all the coins required in it. So between the 6 of you arriving from guarding the train, they are including Sage in on this. So that's 300 for all 6 of you, plus the 10,000 for Lapis being dead, and then the 200,000 for the Duke being alive. So
Do you want me to just...
All in total, right?
in total, it is 211,800.
You said split between 5 or split between 6?
The bounty that you took to escort the train was 300 per person.
Right. No, I
Sage
get
is currently standing there with you, so that's 300 times 6.
that. No.
And then Lapis was presumed dead. 10,000, and then the 200,000 for the Duke being delivered alive.
I'm trying to figure out how to split that. Is it 6 or is it 5?
Depends on if you're giving that any of that to Lapis.
I vote yes.
Okay, sorry, I was confused.
Well. We are going to discuss his sentences, and I mean, let's be honest, probably be hanging him at dawn. So go, enjoy yourselves, spread the word, and we'll see you in the morning. Oh, go on.
Quick question. Can Pez pull a lever?
Oh, yes. We
Kinda-
want Pez to pull the lever to hang him.
He kind of looks over at Pez and looks over at the marshal and kind of quirks an eyebrow, and he goes, Duke murdered his whole family and helped to bring him in. I don't see a reason why not. Governor kind of, meh. It's fine with me.
Can
Does he get to wear the robes?
Yes, that's the question. Can he wear the black mask and robes as well? You might have to get to the small size one for the children.
The governor and marshal look at you all a little confused. And he kind of looks over at the governor. Yeah, they're not from around here. Just, you can wear whatever you want, honestly.
Oh.
Okay.
Rick is now just imagining wearing a party hat.
With a little.
Zod is just imagining wearing nothing. Enjoy the last view you get before you die.
Well, not trying to rush you too much, but we've got quite a bit of paperwork and trial to do.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest, we
Just
know what's
start
going to
walking up
happen
the
here. And he's just kind of wringing his hands and just looks utterly thrilled. So, you all have the rest of the day to do as you please. Is there anything you would like to do?
Big stone.
So you rub the stone. Go,
I
hello.
really stone.
Hello, Moto.
Hello, new stone. Who dis?
I would like to see your wares.
Man, this horse is trying to run
Really?
you fuckers over.
Ah!
Okay, so you use the key phrase to activate the stone. The stone does glow or warm up in your hand as you speak the words, and then it immediately cools back down again. So, other than that, the rest of the day is yours.
What gun manufacturing company is in this town? Or is there one?
Make a history check.
18. So I have to turn the light on. Oh, wait, 18 plus what? 19.
Oh, the 18 was plenty enough. You remember that this town has the Jacobs manufacturing.
That's what I'm looking for. So, what do we want to do?
As you're walking along, Sage speaks up. The money is yours. I have plenty. Do not really need any more.
Ah, I knew I forgot to do something. I forgot to bribe the fucking Duke to see if he hit any riches and chests and things.
Even that I do not know.
I want to go spend money.
As you would say, Father, all well.
What?
All well.
Oh, well.
Oh well.
Sorry, am I getting the accent wrong?
Ja, Brick, stick to your own accent. This is mine.
I do not have an accent.
I would beg to differ. You have the robot accent. I'm sorry, the automaton accent.
That's Roboist.
Do you see mine face? I do not give a fuck. I appreciate your gestures, Zobrick. So,
So wait,
yeah.
So wait, did we split the money?
I was about to say, hold on a second here.
I
What was
don't
the
think
total
we
one
have
more
it
time?
yet.
211,
Oh, you were given it.
Oh, we
Everyone
were,
gets
okay.
We're
Yes.
giving it.
35.
Okay, I wasn't
Everyone
sure.
gets 3,500.
Are you counting that Lapis doesn't want any of it?
Oh, she doesn't?
Yeah, Sheila just said keep it all. Should be 42,360.
Yeah,
Yep.
42,360.
DM, do you just want that in gold or
That's gold.
So wait, 42,000.
360?
360.
God.
Yep.
42,360.
I've never had such a money erection before.
Pez is encumbered.
I think Brick is too.
So apparently I didn't tell you guys to ignore coin weight when we started this campaign.
How am I unencumbered?
Yeah, I'm not encumbered either. I'm good.
Probably because you guys chose to ignore coin weight when you were creating your character.
Let me check. real quick.
Probably.
It should be on the very first page when you go to edit your character.
There we go. Okay, now it's
What is
enabled.
it saying how much you weigh? I want to know how much Pez weighs.
It was saying Brick was weighing over 1,000 pounds.
How much is Brick weighing? I'm sorry, not Brick. Pez.
Well, I mean, 50 coins is 1 pound, so
Christ.
If you need to go to the gym and spend some of this money on a workout program.
Kasumi weighs 900
Brick, spot me.
pounds.
Ching, ching,
Okay,
ching.
Kasumi, we are going to have to cut back on the pastries, okay?
You take that back.
Yeah, no. With all the money and everything in Brick's backpack, he was weighing 1,089 pounds.
Damn.
Jesus. Go away.
Go away.
Haven't heard him in a while. So, what would you all like to do? We can fast forward, of course.
I want to buy a castle.
There are no castles out here in the West.
That is quitter talk!
I mean, you can buy a sand castle.
Brick is
make a
gonna look
sandcastle.
for a blacksmith. I don't
Ooh,
remember if
good
there was
point.
one in this town.
Good question, I don't remember.
I had to check. I didn't look.
Brick shall reach his final
He uses the money into himself.
Sorry, let me actually give you guys this map again, since we're not in the,
Oh, yeah.
There you go. So it's a little bit past midday at this point. It's probably between 3 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, that one's taking a bit to upload. It's odd. It's just a PNG.
it's Discord. It's having issues.
Yeah. So, yes, there. You ask around. There is a blacksmith. Shit. I didn't mean to close that. I need to be able to see it. I am so prepared. Okay.
Brick just pops up. Ching, 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 ching.
So, you all are currently at the pen, which is on the upper side of Locust Harbor, and you remember passing by a blacksmithy along the way at the crossroads from where the Dragonfly Railway HQ was and the pen.
Brick will make his way there.
Okay. Is anyone else going with him? What are the rest of you doing?
I'll go. Why not? Why not?
Okay, so father and son go to the blacksmithy. Kasumi, Pez, Vanira.
Kind of shops her around.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of meander with her to take a look at,
Peruse.
see what's around again.
So you remember there being a few shops. There was the open market, but as you had passed it before, you could see that some of the hustle and bustle was dying down a little bit.
The sushi place was here, right?
No, that was Owl Wharf.
Oh.
I think my town's messed up.
Yeah. Hey, me too, and I made them. You do vaguely remember there being a general store nearby to where you set the trap for Angel. But there didn't seem to be too much, nothing really unique about the place. It was just a basic general store. Most of the items that you all had gone and shopped at was around in the open market. Wow, it is still not posting the picture. I am really disappointed in Discord tonight. Do it. There we go. Christ. Also, I forgot about this one having the kid with the kazoo just going nuts on it.
Oh, that's right. This is the place where he beat that guy up and stole almost everything he had.
And killed his pet and then revived it.
Yep.
Is this also the place with those, like, what were they, twins?
No, that was the harbor town. Same place that had the sushi.
Yep. That's north.
Hey, hey, Vanira. You think our mounts are doing okay?
They're fine.
All right. Just wondering, cause kind of like that Allosaurus.
Where did we lose them again? I don't remember.
They are back in the... Where did we just come from?
You just came from Rivercross.
Thank you.
We should probably have some send or have something sent to have them come here. I will go do that.
And how do you intend to go do that?
The Pterodon Mail HQ?
This is
Sure.
the first time we've ever been to one of these.
This is true. So, well, are you going to the blacksmith or are you going to go send a letter?
We could do that after. Blacksmith first.
Blacksmith first.
Okay, so you two are going to the blacksmith. The rest of you, what are you doing? Are you and Vanira still looking for a general store, or are you going to the open market, or... Oh, cat.
Yeah. She's kind of window shopping because she's ultimately just waiting for the merchant to get there.
Fair
So
enough.
she's just like, oh, that's nice. Yeah, not right now.
Okay.
This is too poor for mine blood.
Okay, so the two of you make your way over to the Iron Rail Blacksmith. And as you get there, you see another bronze-scaled dragonborn. She's very tall, has an athletic build. She's very slim but muscular. Not beefy like you're used to seeing in most blacksmithies, but this looks like someone who can go for a very, very long time, has a lot of stamina. She's got a very sleek, slender face, very attractive for any of those interested in the dragonborn physique. She has bright red eyes, and she has a piercing in her right eyebrow. She seems to be taking a break at the moment. She's sitting down, and there's tongs sitting next to the furnace that is burning bright and hot in the late afternoon sun. She sees the two of you approach, kind of clears her throat a little bit. Hi, good day to ya. Something I can help the two of you with.
Greetings. I'm looking for a full set of plate armor.
She kind of looks you up and down for a second. You seem to be made of it yourself.
She's right, you know.
This is actually splint armor.
Interesting. Well, I don't have any at the moment made. Might take me a couple days, week or so. Got the materials, just need the time to make it to your size.
I look down at Zahn. Do we have a week?
I do not know. We can always come back. She seems like a very nice lady whose name escapes me.
Terribly sorry. My name is Tamaya.
Brick.
And I am Zahn. But Tamaya seems like a very nice lady who would be more than happy to help you. But if you are not here, then how will she help you?
Fair. We shall return with more information. Thank you for your time.
Well, if you're looking for a full plate set, you're looking at 1,500 gold pieces.
Oh, that
do
won't
that.
be a problem. Not at all.
She kind of looks at you with squinted eyes and...
We have killed some very high-profile people. Legally, of course, not illegally. The legal kind of killing.
They will be hanging probably tomorrow morning.
Yes. The Duke will die.
She kind of sits up straight. What?
Yes, the Duke will die.
The Duke?
Is there another Duke that I don't know of?
The Duke, who
Yeah.
has been terrorizing the West for damn near generations. The Duke?
Yes, the one that rides the T-Rex and all that? Yeah, I killed that thing. I have its teeth here, see? Hold up the Tyrannosaurus tooth thing that he's got on his side.
She kind
It
of looks.
really hurt.
She kind of looks at the two of you and just laughs. You're pulling me leg.
No, you can come
Sure,
see us
you
tomorrow,
killed
friend Pez. No, we didn't kill him. We're hanging him tomorrow. My friend Pez will be pulling the lever that kills him.
She just looks at you and she's just shaking her head.
It's okay. When you see us tomorrow, you will see.
Sure thing, loves.
Would you like to make a bet on it?
Ain't the betting sort.
Oh, that's too bad. Oh well.
I just kind of look down at Zahn. I do not understand. Why is this fact so unbelievable?
Belbrick, when you kill high-profile people, it kind of becomes hard to believe because the people that don't, or that commit most of these things, becomes the legend. It's hard to believe to kill a legend because they have such a reputation that it's hard to believe.
Will we become legends?
Oh, Brick. My metal, ignorant, adorable thing. Most likely you will become legend, but I am already legend in my company, in my country, area, people. But I will be known all over the world. That
But you
is
are not
fair.
legend here.
Meh, to be honest with you, most of the people that I have met are not worth remembering me anyways. Other than you, you're fantastic. I like you.
Thank you.
No, not you, her.
That's fair.
She kind of like glances around like, oh, you were talking to me?
Yes. But
Well,
we appreciate your time.
not to
We
be
shall
rude,
return.
but if you're not paying for anything, you need to be getting back to me work. She stands up and goes back to the forge and with the tongs pulls out a long iron bar and begins hammering away at it. She's keeping an eye on the two of you, just glancing up, chuckling, and just hammering away and just kind of laughing.
We shall save a spot for you tomorrow morning.
Oh yes, come find us. We will give you front row seats.
She just shakes her head and keeps working the metal.
I'm gonna tap Brick as we're walking away. Oh, she's gonna be blown away tomorrow. Just watch.
Is that not bad? Who is going to blow her away tomorrow?
Not that kind of blow away. Don't worry about it. It just means she'll be very impressed.
Oh. This is good, yes?
Yes, Brick. It is very good. Okay, let's get going. We have much more things to do than stand here and take up time.
Okay. And I guess we'll make our way to the mail place.
Okay. The other three of you, anything that you would like to do while this is all happening?
With the hopes of the merchant on the horizon, nothing seems too interesting in this town.
I just realized we parted ways without realizing where we were gonna meet back up again.
Shame.
Oh well! Shame!
Real quick point of order for the two of you, since, I mean, honestly, between the three of us, you two are kind of the most level-headed. Don't tell the others about that, but, between you two, I think we all should try to keep a low profile, try to, like, keep this whole Duke situation on the down low, because we don't want people knowing that we have a large sum of money.
Which two are you saying this to? The two chuckle nuts or Venera
No,
and
the-
Kasuma?
Veneer and
Kasumi.
Kasumi.
Blech.
Uma.
I'm sorry.
That's her with all the coin now.
My brain,
I
man.
agree.
I love how
I-
Pez is over. We should keep this on the down low. Brick and Zod. We just killed the Duke.
Fucking walks in, fur coat just throws money everywhere.
The thrift store song is stuck in my head now.
No, but Pez, I agree with you. Also, I don't think we should draw too much attention about the Duke physically being here.
Agreed. If this hanging is gonna be a public event put on by the governor, so be it. Good for him. I personally want this to be more like a private event. But that's just me.
agree.
I mean, the governor can do whatever they want. I mean, honestly, I could probably run this town a lot better.
Maybe you should.
Damn.
La-dee-da. Make an ego check.
Rolls a 1. Critical fail.
But one thing does cross my mind: if this does end up getting to be a big thing and the whole town hears about it, it might be beneficial for us to set up a boundary in case someone tries to prevent him from dying.
Agreed. And again, honestly, I really have no intention of going up there and hanging a man, because I don't want to stoop down to his level. I don't want to be a killer. I mean, I've killed before, but I don't want to kill an unarmed individual, even though it's him.
I do.
But again, that's just me.
Is it bad that all I can think of is the ridiculous 6 when the guy's getting hung and he's just running in the air?
He flies
I got
through
a
the
strong
air
neck.
with the greatest of ease.
No, but I agree. And if you don't feel comfortable, you shouldn't do it.
All right.
Plus, if something does go down, you would be a prime target.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I don't even know what Hamburger would do without me.
Let's not think about that.
Agreed.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
Back in the Hall of Justice.
That's what
Meanwhile,
I'd say.
back to the Chuckle Nuts.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of the Super Best Friends.
So the two of you find your way up to the Pteranodon Male HQ, and you see a row of 4 sort of interlocked buildings, and they're gigantic, and you just see leathery wings flying in and out constantly from different areas. It takes you a second to stop looking up at this site to find a door in the front, and you step inside and you just see open hallways that go all the way up and staircases on either side.
This is very impressive.
And there are animal droppings everywhere.
I will stand under a brick.
You will what?
I will stand under a brick.
Oh, stand under brick.
Yes. So,
where do we find people to send mail to? With
there is a front desk that seems to have a awning over top of it
fantastic, wunderbar.
that didn't seem to always be white, but it is now currently white. And there is a frazzled-looking halfling sitting behind it with leaves of paper, pens, quills, inks. He sees you come in, and he seems a little twitchy, but sort of like the overcaffeinated twitchy. He goes, hello, welcome. Do you sending or receiving?
We need to send the mail.
Send in the mail. Right. Where to?
Brick, where are we sending mail to?
Let's see if my notes fail me. They probably will.
Oh, Rivercross, right? I'm not crazy.
Yes, Rivercross.
Yes, we need to send some mail to Rivercross.
He picks up his pen and kind of pen to paper, lifts it back down. Where? Who? Can't just send a letter to Rivercross entitled or entirely. It's not how this works.
Where are we staying?
The Thirsty Boar Inn. I think.
Way to plan ahead, guys.
Listen,
I am
Zon.
not a smart man.
Listen,
You're not a
Zon's
man
trying
at
to do
all.
Something nice. I was about to say they're kept at the inn that we stayed in, so yeah, it should be the Thirsty Boar Inn.
You would know better than I do. Apparently, I did not write down the inn where we stayed.
I did. That was what I said. So,
Okay.
yeah. Can
Right.
we send the mail to the Thirsty Boy Inn asking if we can please have our dinosaurs shipped here?
He's writing all this down, and he seems to be like, as you say a word, he's done with the word. He moves on to the next one. He's writing very quickly. He goes, all right, Thirsty Boy in. Ship dinos to Locust Harbor.
Wer the Tempests? Yeah, wer the Tempest? That's the names that we gave them, I think.
It's our group.
Yes, we are a mercenary group.
I was wondering if you're a band. Okay.
Oh, yes, no,
He
I'm
writes that
fantastic
down.
on the bagpipes.
He seems to be ignoring you at this point.
Wow,
Very
what's
well.
that?
Where are you staying?
The Palm Tree Inn.
Ooh, Ritzy, the Palm Tree Inn, staying at the Palm Tree. The mercenary group Tempest staying at the Palm Tree Inn. Okay. He scribbles all that down, folds it up. Be 1 silver piece, please.
Here you go.
Arr!
You give him a silver or a gold?
A silver?
Oh.
He said 1 silver.
Brick slides a gold across. Thank you.
Kind of puts his hand down real quick, slides it over. Sort of like test bends it.
Ooh. Staying at the Palm Tree Inn, got gold to spend.
No,
He
he's just
folds
very...
the paper up further, and he like seals it off, sits it in a tray on his side.
Very well. Anything else you need sent?
9. That's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Good day.
Thank you.
Mind the drop-ins.
I will proceed to hide under brick again.
Make a dexterity save.
Me or
no,
me
no,
or
no, no, no,
Brett?
no, no. I don't want to have
Wait.
to roleplay the bird shit.
Dexterity +3. I rolled a 16.
You jokingly go, "Ha, Brick, I'll hide underneath you." And as you move, Brick, I'll hide underneath you. Go, 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 go. So, your letter has been sent. You have gone to look at the blacksmith. You know how much the plate mail will cost. It is not currently in stock. Is there anything else you all would like to do for the evening?
Realizing that we did not create a meeting place for our group, I'm going to mortar into existence and have him fly around above the town and try to spot our very colorful friends.
Okay. So you just standing out in the middle of the street. Did you find somewhere to sit down? Are you or sorry, are you controlling it, or did you just send him out to find them?
Brick wouldn't have thought about it and just eyes gone white in the middle of the street, just like, oh yeah.
Okay,
Hey,
so you both are walking away from the male HQ, and Zon, you're walking along with Brick, and you're just kind of looking around at the people, just feeling all high and mighty from what you've done. You realize that he's just suddenly not beside you anymore.
Brick? Brick? What the fuck are you doing?
He's standing in the middle of the street and is causing people to have to part around him, carts, people, and all.
I'm just gonna try to push him up the middle of the street.
Brick can still feel it and just kind of goes with the flow.
Okay, so you shove him off the side of the street. Make a perception check with your owl.
Okay. Me owl. Extras. Owl. Advantage on perception. Yes. Okay. Oh. 18.
Okay, 18. It does take you a little bit, but for the benefit of the owl, it is becoming further and further into the evening. So as the sun is dipping down, the owl is more in its element, and Mortar is able to find them fairly quickly because Vanera is brightly colored, so is Kasumi. Pez is a little bit harder to spot, but finding those two at the same time and then zeroing in on the tiny kobold is able to swoop down. And what would you like to do with Mortar at that point?
He'll just land on Kasumi's shoulder.
So Kasumi, all of a sudden you have a very large, was barn owl, screech owl?
A great horned owl.
Great horned owl, that's right. This great horned owl lands on your shoulder that you've seen a few times, but still a big ass bird just dive bombed in on your shoulder.
Guys,
Hmm.
she points at the owl.
Oh.
What the heck? Where did that come from?
Hamburger is hissing profusely.
And rightly so, because if I remember right, the great horned owl is like damn near silent while flying. So it literally just appeared on her shoulder and from Hamburger.
I think we know this owl.
It looks vaguely familiar.
What do you want, owl?
How
Can I-
how it is?
Talk to the owl? Would that work?
Do you have speak with animals?
Yes.
Yep.
He technically
Yeah.
understands English.
But
Or,
I don't
mean,
know
if I
if
can talk to Hamburger, then
right, but I don't know that Brick would able to talk through the owl because technically you can only control its
Rick
movement.
wouldn't be able to talk through the owl, but depending on how far away, I would be able to.
instruct
Tell him
the owl
what
on
to
what to
say.
do. So you
Um,
guys are outside of the Pteranodon HQ. Where were the three of you wandering around?
I would say the main market,
Yeah, just the
probably.
Main market? You were way too far away to give him
Yeah,
more
way too
instructions.
far
You were
away.
basically able to mentally tell him to find them. He did. You can still see them, but you can no longer give any more instructions.
Right.
big is this owl?
So you could try to. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Wait, real fast. How big is this owl?
It is big.
A great horned owl is
Uh-huh.
freaking.
Yeah,
They're big.
But what's its lifting capacity?
not
Oh my god.
not
Not
that.
Pez.
I didn't stutter.
I didn't either.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
I said no.
Oh, fine.
He also just got 1,000 pounds worth of coins. No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would like
Moving
to speak
on.
with animals.
Okay. So you cast a spell and
I'm using my staff, so I'm using a charge.
okay. What would you like to say? Is that what you want to say?
What?
I'm gonna have to work on my my audio files here because there's some really fucking weird ones in here, man.
They're fun.
They're always
can
so
we help
perfectly
you?
timed too. Oh, sorry. You say okay.
Can we help you?
The owl kind of looks very regal and kind of ruffles himself and. I was told to find you.
I thought Mortar was a girl.
Is it?
Nope.
Nope.
There's a boy.
Oh.
My statement stands.
Actually,
By
Mortar's
who?
technically non-gender because it's a fae.
Sorry, say again, Vanera.
By who?
Brick told me to find you.
Oh, so you're Brick's bird. Okay.
Just realized that the bird's gonna still be mad at me.
Sue me. Pez. It's Brick's bird.
Okay.
By this time, also, Brick will have snapped out of it and went this way and walked off.
Okay, I'll just follow.
So is he just gonna stay on my shoulder?
Are you just gonna stay on her shoulder?
I like it here.
She likes it here.
Lovely. Oh, okay. Where are we supposed to go?
Where are we supposed to go?
You've never seen an owl shrug before.
I'm just imagining this conversation back and forth.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of whoos, and then the owl just goes with its wings. Just sort of shrugs.
Okay.
Well,
Well, it doesn't say where to go.
The fox has got a great horned owl who kills foxes on her shoulder. It's so great.
she's like awkwardly standing, like she puts her arms out. She's like stiff. She's like,
It's just like,
she's just like.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Near's gonna hold
Okay.
her arm out. See if Mortar will go.
Make a persuasion check.
Persuade the owl.
Persuasion.
Not animal handling.
Or animal handling.
Okay. I'll give you animal handling.
25.
Jeez.
Kind of.
Vanira's expertise in animal handling.
Sort of looks at your arm and looks at Kasumi, who seems like all locked up and just. And he, like,
Did we offend him?
and lands on your outstretched arm.
Sumi, I think you offended him.
I think he looks better on you.
Hamburger's still hissing.
She pets his feathers. Feathers.
As you're petting him, the owl's head just like poltergeists towards Hamburger and just stares with like the most regal disdain you can imagine.
Horned owls
Not
have
taunting or anything, just like locking eyes with Hamburger and just watching it.
You are beneath me.
Yeah. Horned owls have.
Fucking royal ass horned owl. You are beneath me.
Filthy creature.
I'm not repeating that.
What did he say?
He
Don't
deserves
worry
to
about
know.
No.
You know what?
I'm not
I'm gonna
repeating that.
cast. I'm gonna cast fucking speak with animals.
Oh no. Gonna have to cast this dang ritual again.
Point out that people around you now hear 3 people who were just saying "fucking who" a lot.
Don't worry about it.
Who's on first?
Who's on second? And who's on third? And I'm pretty sure who's at home too.
No, what's on second, and I don't know's on third.
Who?
He's on first! So you cast Speak with Animals, but you were just slightly behind in the conversation. You may have caught the tail end of the deserves to know.
The nerves to fucking hell.
Third time's the charm.
Deserves to know what?
Do you wish to repeat what you said?
No.
Hamburger, what'd he say?
Hamburger kind of looks at you and goes, I don't speak owl. I don't like him, though. He's looking at me. And now it's just a staring contest between the two of them.
I'm gonna like lean my head down to Hamburger's level and also give the owl a stink eye.
So, as Brick and Zahn finally catch up, this is what you see. Let me paint you a picture.
Wait, for us?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So,
okay, no, please,
Kasumi
please.
is kind of like patting herself down, just glad to be free of the owl. Step one. Vanira is standing there with the owl on her arm. So, the owl's facing her, but the head is turned around looking at Hamburger on the ground, feathers ruffled, staring up there with Pez down on all fours, level with Hamburger, glaring, both of them glaring up to the owl just at the side of the market.
The fuck are you doing?
Staring contest, don't know that.
It's an owl. It's going to beat you no matter what you do.
I will
They've
beat
been-
you.
They've
I
been
honestly
talking to
would
the
like to
owl.
see you do that, but
Well, because now I just think he'll never win.
wait, is that Brick? Is that the same owl from before?
Yes, why?
No reason. Nothing happened. It was a party. I just wanted to make sure the same owl.
The staring contest is broken, and the head swivels all the way around to look at the rabbit.
Are there people staring?
Yes.
Staring upon the Tempest, the ones
Staring-
who have bested the
Who?
Duke.
Who?
Staring is a strong word. Giving a wide berth is closer to it. The day has kind of grown on, or ebbed on, and the sun is setting once again. And even though the crowd is thinning, there's still a decent bubble around the Who's and the Crouching Kobold, and just sort of generalized like, okay.
Crouching kobold, hissing velociraptor.
You guys look silly even by mine standards.
Mm.
Hi, Kazumi.
I just
Hi.
kind of looked at it, Zon. Should I vanish the owl?
Why? Is that a problem?
Is there? I don't know.
I don't know. It seems like the owl is just looking at me. Apparently, I am devilishly handsome.
Pez, you and Vanera hear this. He's full of shit. And he smells of it too.
She's gonna sit there just giggling to herself.
I'm gonna like just break eye contact and snicker.
Oh, well, the owl broke eye contact with you when it turned to look at Zahn when he arrived. So technically you won the staring contest. Congratulations. you and Hamburger give a little...
Only something as funny as that I don't know what it is. Oh well, whatever.
Order. And I'll hold out my arm.
You hear a
And shoot him.
whoo, and he takes off from Vanera's arm, lands back on Brick. Whoo. Okay. Is there anything else you would all like to do this evening?
I say we bed down for the night.
Oh yes, I sent for our dinosaurs. They will be coming here whenever. I don't know. I saw them. We were staying at Zapomim. I think that was the place we stayed here last time.
Okay.
Okay.
And they waddled away.
And they waddled away, waddle, to the Palm Tree Inn. So, you all head back up to the familiar Palm Tree Inn, where you had stayed the night and met with Brick's creator. You see the familiar brown-skinned innkeeper, Anna Tobias. She sees you walk in and goes, "Oh, I did not expect to see you all here again. Welcome. How many rooms?"
Kasumi! Could pull out my brush again. Come on. You know you liked it.
Like two very slow blinks.
I will have a room all to myself. If Kasumi does not want to be brushed. Whatever.
Is it for one night? How long is your stay?
How long are we staying?
To be determined?
I suppose
At
one
least
night for
one.
now.
You
Yeah,
can stay
I would-
by the night. You can. It is cheaper for more, but you
I
can
mean,
pay
I-
nightly if you wish.
It's just minimum 2 nights then, I guess, for the moment. Is 2 nights cheaper than one?
Marginally. How many rooms?
I do?
2 rooms?
Only 2 rooms?
I mean, do we
I'm
need
taking
one?
my own room. We'll make
Okay.
this easy.
I
can
I
fuck
guess
with
a room for
whoever.
everyone.
Kasumi, why don't you room with me?
Okay.
We'll have a girls' room.
So, girls' room. How many other rooms? We got one for Zahn.
I will bunk with Zahn.
That's 2 rooms. Pez just got M&Ms.
Has just got handed drugs.
One room for me, I guess.
Okay, so 3 rooms. She looks through, make sure. 3 rooms, 2 nights. It will be 10 silver per room. So that's
Kasumi,
30
I'll
silver total.
pay. 10 silver. Goodbye. Boop, boop.
Here you go.
10 silver a night or 10 silver
10 silver for the 2 nights.
for the 2 nights? Okay. Remove.
Okay.
I got it.
Thank you. I won't take up too much space, I promise.
That's okay.
Okay. So, any last minute things you would like to do before bedding down for the evening? No?
Nope.
I'm good.
Okay. So, you all go to your rooms after having a meal provided by the innkeeper in the downstairs. You go up, and one of the more comfortable stays you've had in a fair little while. You've had some nice stays in some of the other inns, but these beds are incredibly soft. The rooms are large. It's a very upscale kind of inn. You all have a long rest, and that is where we're going to end for tonight. We do apologize for the late start. Schedule's kind of conflicted. A little bit shorter-ish of a session, but I am exhausted, and a few of us have some very, very early days tomorrow. So, anything anyone else needs elaboration on? Any other things they want to announce or say?
Thank you.
Join the
Thanks for
Discord.
watching.
Yes. If you
Yes.
haven't already, please join the Discord. Links down below. We're always willing to chat and talk with you guys, share funny D&D memes and things. The Discord is also where we announce when we're going to be going live next. It is generally every 2 weeks, but schedules change, things get in the way, and sometimes life happens. So, until the next time we go live, we hope you all enjoy, stay safe, and if there's nothing else, good night.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye.
Enjoy your evening.